All right, my good friend Melissa Lowe joins me on Air Sports News. I've been waiting for this for a while. How are you?
Hi, Regan. I'm doing great.
So where are you? Mountain time. Where are you based right now?
I'm in Western Colorado. So I am in the ski haven of the United States.
And have you got the snow yet?
We've got snow. In fact, we got snow last night.
Amazing. Here in Montreal, we've got a bit of an Indian summer. It's 20 degrees for 4 days. Today and tomorrow is the end of it, and then the temperature drops right down. But listen, Melissa, what a few days this has been. Good news all around. Your highlight skydiving, the women's vote, been pushing hard for that. We've all been following it. Now a female vice president. And then today, this morning, news of a potential vaccine for COVID-19, which could open up the world of air sports again, which is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening right now. So many things. And I try not to get too wrapped up in things because I like things to be happening first before, jumping on the bandwagon of things. But it's awesome, and I'm glad now things are starting to, simmer down on social media a little bit, just because I was feeling so much anxiety and stress, and I think a lot of other people were as well. So it's nice to see people getting back to their regular posting and just seeing the awesome people they are,
Yeah. Well, you're well known in the skydiving community, and we have a lot of people watching from all various air sports. So let's just run down a little bit who you are. Skydiver, let's see if I can get these right. You're a skydiver, you're an author, you're a keynote speaker, you are a business owner, you've owned your own drop zones, you're a yogi. Did I miss anything out there?
I'm a mom.
I'm a mom. The number one thing, the important thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of skydiving heritage. You're from a skydiving family. You go way, way back. Your first parachute jump was when you were 5.
5 years old. That's right. A long time ago, when back in the day, the rules and everything were a little bit different than they are today. And my dad owned the skydiving center, and he took me up for my first jump, and I don't remember it particularly. I remember more so the stories that other jumpers that were there, they would tell me the stories, and I feel like that has become a learned memory. So yeah, 5 years old.
All your life, you've been around our types, air sport people, skydiving people. When was your first realization that not everybody lived that kind of life?
It wasn't until later on in life I realized that I grew up in skydiving. I'm a 3rd-generation skydiver, so I watched people come into the sport, but it never really dawned on me that there was this threshold that people weren't skydivers and they came to become skydivers or experience skydiving. So it wasn't until later on in life I lived the skydiver life. I became an instructor. I did a lot of stuff behind the scenes working for my dad's skydiving center. So it wasn't until I was about 26 or 27 did I take my first real break in the sport and explored doing other things off of the skydiving center. And it was really awkward. I was like a fish out of water because I didn't speak the same language. I don't know pop culture the same way other people know pop culture. And it really gave me a new sense of appreciation of people coming into experiencing the sport.
What did you do when you took that break? What was your first skydiving?
I moved to Hawaii. I moved to Hawaii for 6 years and traveled around. I worked at a skydiving center down there as well, but I traveled a lot, and I don't know, just needed to, because I came from a lineage of skydiving, I really wanted to get to know who I was. Yes. Because I knew who I was in the role of this 3rd-generation skydiver, and it gave me an opportunity to really fall in love with the sport for myself. Not something that it's just something that I do because it's something my grandmother always said, it's in your blood. I got to get out of it a little bit, figure out who I was a little bit, and then I fell in love with skydiving even more, and I came back into the sport full time with a vengeance.
And how old were you then when you came back into the sport? Right?
How old? 26, so 6 years. So I never got out. That's why I say break.
Yes.
because I never stopped.
Yeah.
I was working at the skydiving center in Hawaii, and I would travel to Chicago and base myself there out of summers to go organize at places. So I would say it was about the 6 year mark after Hawaii. So I think it was about 2010. So 26, 30s. I was in my 30s, 33, maybe 32, that I came back, and I just wanted to be so immersed in the sport. Felt, like I said, fell in love with it so much more deeply.
Yeah. And with the people we meet and the people we're around, we do have a different connection. I do think people who are involved in skydiving, in all air sports. One, we're outside most of the day. We don't spend much time indoors. But something that really hit home to me the other day, I was speaking to a friend online who I've known in the sport for 25 years. And she was telling me about moving and going for a different job opportunity, and she's waiting for results on the interview. And I suddenly realized I have absolutely no idea what she does in the real world. You know, and I said, well, what do you do? I actually had no idea what her role was outside of skydiving. And that's very interesting. That's come up a few times I've had in conversations with pilots and with balloonists and with skydivers as well. We focus more on just who we are, not what we do.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that.
So you're up for an election. You're up for National Director of the USPA, the United States Parachute Association. Just by coincidence, my other guest this week is Chuck Akins. Oh, you seem to have frozen. Are you still there?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm here.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the thing has crashed. Yes, we've got two USPA people on the show this week, just by coincidence. So for anybody who doesn't understand, National Director, what is that? What does the National Director do?
So the United States Parachute Association has a board of directors made up of national and regional directors, and they play a very similar role, but also there's a point where they break off and do separate things. So I'll focus more on the national director since that's what I am running for. But the national director helps support, the biggest role is to support and represent the members at large. So basically any USPA member is a person who we represent. But the other thing is to make sure that we are engaging in the policies and training. So the things that we put in the Skydiver Competition Manual and the Skydiver Information Manual. So those are the biggest roles that the National Director plays.
And what do you see as being your role as a change? Would it be a change? Are you looking to change things or keep things as they are? Or have you got your own ideas how that role should be different?
I am definitely in that third category and doing it differently, because having been involved in the sport literally my entire life, I have been to a handful of board meetings, and in my entire skydiving career, rarely if ever had I ever had a director come to me to ask my opinion or input on changes that we should be implementing in our sport. And it was about 15 years ago that I went to the board at the time to get four-way VFS to be implemented as a competitive discipline. So I wrote all the rules. I got a lot of support from the members. I had a huge petition. So I went to the board with, this is what the community wants. Can we push through and get this done? Yes, it was done. But the entire process, I had to educate the board and the people on the committee that were pushing this through on the vertical disciplines, because none of them flew the vertical disciplines. So I understood that. I knew what I was getting myself into, and I did it. So here we are 15 years later, my co-organizer and I, Matt Fry, of the Vertical Sequential World Records, needed to change the rules because I had organized, I think, 3 or 4 Vertical Sequential World Records, and the rules were so limiting. And I knew that we were going to have to rewrite the rules. And I honestly did not want to. It was running in mud. I knew it had to be done, but I was going really slow because I knew what I was up against, because it was the same thing. And Matt really did a lot of the legwork this time, but he had to re-educate the whole board on why we wanted to change the rules. The rules were originally written for belly flyers, and they copied and pasted it and put it into vertical, but we don't have the same grip opportunities. We don't turn our points the same. So we had to educate them on why and how this is all being changed. It took a long time and a lot of frustration to get the rules changed, and we finally did. But it made me realize that how come we are having this conversation 15 years later? And why do we not have this vertical representation? So two things that happened there, right? One, no one was reaching out to the community when that is our intention as a national director. And why don't we have more diversity on the board? So that not just being men and women, but be all disciplines being represented on the board.
What will happen for you personally if you get this position, if you become national director? How will that change your life? How much of your time is it going to take? I have no idea. Is it a few days a week? Is it a few minutes a week? Is it hours a week? How will it affect you?
I'm not sure. I'm a workaholic, and I'm really, really good at time management, because you have to be, when you're a load organizer, organizing skydives, whether you're at a boogie, and you know this, you're smiling, I see this, because you have to get the group together, you get on a load, you're on a 20-minute call, so you know exactly the things that you have to do to get ready, to get on the plane, go jump, and then what happens after that. So I feel that even though a lot of people say a national director just shows up to a board meeting, I will not do that. I am definitely going to work. So I love that you're asking me how much time is going to be inputted, because you know me. I am going to work for our community. I'm going to work for the sport. I am not sure what that looks like. I'm right now in my schedule, I'm dedicating two chunks of 2 days a week doing this, but I want to get on the phone. I want to call the drop zone owners. I want to call the examiners. I have a group page on Facebook to connect with the fun jumpers and anybody else who I can't reach. And I want to go to events once events start happening again, so I can reach more people, not just drop zone owners, but I feel it's really important to go to the competitions and listen to what the competitors are saying. What do they want? What do they need? Where are they going? Where is it going? The same thing with fun jumpers and earning licenses and examiners, because I feel that as a whole, we need to connect more and be better represented when these ideas and agendas are being passed at the board. I don't want it to just be me. I want to be really confident that the decisions I'm making is representing the sport as a whole. But that's because of the work that I'll have done before the meetings.
Sounds amazing. You sound fully passionate about it as well, and I knew you absolutely would be. Let's talk about your books for a minute. You've written 3 books so far. Is that right? Is it 3?
That's right. And I have a 4th one in the works.
That's what I was going to ask about. What's it? Is it secret? Can we know a little bit about it or not?
Oh, absolutely. It's not a secret at all. It's called The Journey to 23. It is about my life journey to earning 23 world records. So I share a little bit about my history in the sport, and then some challenges and some amazing feats and dreams that have come true and dreams that were crushed, and how I got to where I am in the sport today.
What does it mean to you writing? What I'm trying to say is, after your first publication, does it become easier? Do you get more passionate about it? Does it really fire you as much as you thought it would do?
Yeah, I think publishing a book has got to be different for everyone, because my first books that I published were my dad's books. And I feel that was so hard because obviously he passed away almost 2 decades ago. So I was doing these books having to rely on my mom and some other jumpers and some people that are around in my dad's life. And I had an amazing editor who was along the ride with me, who also knew my father, which made it a lot more easier to tell his story a little bit. But it took me 10 years to write the first 2 books, and the third one happened shortly after. But this book seems so much easier because A, I know the process, yes, and B, it's my story. Yes. So I don't have to research and I know it. I know the story, but I do have 2 people that I'm bringing along to help me mold the story as we go. So because I have had so many things happen in my life, I don't want to get lost in the story. So yeah, I have 2 people on board helping me to make sure I don't go on a tangent left field.
And what do you see coming up for you in the next few years, you've got your election for the national director, you've got your family, you've got your books. Is there anything completely off the radar at the moment that we're not aware of that you might be thinking of doing?
Well, no, not really. That's it. And the only other thing is the highlight demonstration team. We have another year lining up. It's starting to mold. We don't have anything set in stone for next year yet, but we have met as a team, just building that camaraderie and that momentum of having such a successful 2020 year when things looked really bleak at the beginning of the year. We didn't know if we would be able to do anything, but we were very fortunate, and we were very, very mindful and cautious and intentional when we did our traveling, and just respecting that we are doing this during a pandemic. So feel incredibly honored that we were able to do that. So we are poised, getting ready for 2021.
And for anybody tuning in who's not aware of the project, just tell us quickly about the background of the Highlight project.
Yeah, the Highlight Pro Skydiving team, we are made up of 12 professional women, and we do demonstrations for our mission to inspire women and girls to live brave, bold lives of their own design. And it is, I feel so fortunate because I have worked really hard my entire skydiving career, and I am always looking for what's next. And this literally landed on my lap. And when the whole thing came together and the dust settled, we looked around at each other, and we're such great friends already in the sport. We all have nothing to prove, and we're just like, we're the dream team. This is so incredible.
It's been fantastic to watch. You've had your live streams of the events. It's been very powerful, quite emotional, really, especially when you were celebrating the women's vote, and you did your display, and then you had your speeches on the podium with your amazing MC, a very passionate woman. I can't remember her name. The girl who was
Hannah Betts.
Yeah. Yes. No, not Hannah. No, you had another woman who was on the ground when you did.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, I cannot remember her name, but she was amazing. She's a former tennis player, professional athlete, and yeah, she was incredible.
She was absolutely incredible. So that's going to continue into next year. The program, the project.
Yep, absolutely.
Good. Well, listen, it's been fantastic to catch up with you. Your vote is open until November. When is it open until?
November 30th.
November 30th. So people, all USPA members, get online, have a read through who's available, and pick your choices. And best of luck with that.
Thank you, Regan.
It's been great to catch up with you. Thanks, Melissa.
All right, bye.